This is our daily top 5 gainers and top 5 losers analysis for August 19, 2019 in preparation for the next trading day on Tuesday. My name is JC De Guzman, and today I'm going to talk about MPI, KPPI, the newly debuted stock IPO company, then URC, JGS, Security Bank, PHEN, Flea, SMC, Abacor, and lastly, Web. So I'm going to give you my technical analysis followed by my recommendations. And I'd like to give three reminders. First, if any of these 10 stocks begin at a price lower or higher than the dominant range that you're about to see, and if you happen to be interested in trading the names, make sure that you post a request for that particular stock's latest trade and volume distribution and true market sentiment charts in our private clients forum right here. Secondly, if you are about to enter a new position in any of these 10 stocks, be reminded that there's an extra process that you must go through, and that is the calculation of your reward to risk ratio. Not because the 10 smack D combo is valid, not because the momentum power indicator is bullish, it doesn't mean that you should push the buy button right away. You must be satisfied with your reward to risk ratio first. That's the one of the many things that I emphasized in the lesson number 6 during the Evergreen Strategy in Trading the Philippine Stock Market seminar. I hope you still remember that. If not, I suggest that you brush up on your handouts. Okay, revisit your handouts so that you can review what we talked about during that 6 hour seminar. And lastly, if if in case we'll be talking about some index or blue chip companies, I'd like to inform you that this video is for short term trading purposes. If you are in need of some pieces of advice for long-term investing, I suggest that you post that request in our private clients forum separately. If that's an index company and you are into that company for long-term investing, we already have a dedicated forum, dedicated section in our forum for those 30 index companies. Okay? So let's begin with MPI. MPI closed on Monday at 5.10. Let's see if it can sustain its ascent above the resistance near that area. Support is at 4.56. If it continues its ascent above 5.10, support will become 5.10 and the resistance will become 5.54. The 10 SMACD combo is already valid in the case of MPI. Foreign investors registered a net foreign buying worth 137.2 million pesos. I am actually impressed by the size of this volume. Bullish volume for today. It engulfs the height of the daily volume bars to its, for the past few, at least 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, I would say. Now, RSI is still in the neutral level. It's upward sloping. It's still quite distant from the classical overbought level. So I would say that if the momentum power indicator is bullish, I think MPI still have enough gas, so to speak, to break above 5.10, maybe around 5.50, and so on, or even higher. The risk level of MPI is already moderate, and positive DMI is already hovering the negative DMI, although the ADX is still below 25 points. Now let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart. The dominant range is between 5 to 5.10. It's closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. Since the four elements of our momentum power indicator are present, I would say that our momentum power indicator is bullish for MPI. On the other hand, the true market sentiment is neutral. So if you have had MPI, I would strictly recommend that you keep an eye on your trailing stop loss. Okay, keep an eye on your trailing stop loss. There's a possibility for the traders to translate this price at 5.10 as a selling point. So if and when you see some signs of a weakening upward momentum, what did I say during the seminar? You have to recalculate your trailing stop loss by downgrading the percentage of risk applied in your trailing stop loss. Okay, you might want to consider locking in some profits by selling a few tranches if the total size of your holdings for this particular stock is divisible by a few tranches. Okay, now if you don't have a position on MPI yet, I think you're better off waiting for a breakout above 5.10. Consider doing a test buy within the dominant range if the momentum power indicator remains bullish once it breaks above 5.10. Nonetheless, my overall sentiment is bullish on MPI. Okay, so next, the IPO company. Since this is the day one of KPPI in the Philippine Stock Exchange, I'm going to use the 3-minute chart. Okay, I'm going to use the 3-minute chart just so we can identify the intraday support and resistance levels of this particular stock. So the immediate support is pegged at 7.84 as a precursor to 7.42. Resistance is at 8.39. You can say that's about 8.4. Now, the psychological resistance, just in case it breaks above 8.4 on Tuesday, the next psychological resistance will be at 9.9, which is in confluence with a 61.8% extension of the up Fibonacci. Okay, so here, I'm not going to interpret what I see on the MACD, RSI, or historical volatility and DMI because these are not yet applicable in the case of KPPI. And by the way, I'd like to remind you that for IPO stocks, at least for the first 2 weeks of trading, you know that the momentum power indicator has 4 elements, right? What are those? First one should be the last candlestick must be green, the last price must be above the VWAP, the last volume bar should be green and should be at least higher than the 50% of the stock's 10-day volume average, and the dominant range should be closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. You know that the third component is not applicable. What's that? The 10-day volume average. Of course, we can't apply that yet. So in this case, if those three applicable components are all present, then I would say that the momentum power indicator is already bullish. Okay, in the case of an IPO stock, a newly debuted IPO stock. Okay, now let's take a look at KPPI's trade and volume distribution chart. So since this is a huge chart, what I'm going to do is to right click and then click on open image new tab, and then let's see. I'm going to click this to magnify the chart. With respect to the closing price of 8.15, I would say that the dominant range is still closer to the intraday high than intraday low. It's between 8 all the way to 8.3, closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. Therefore, the momentum power indicator is bullish. Now, here's the thing. The true market sentiment is bearish. So, if you still have KPPI and it's still trading above your trailing stop loss, and I would think that it still is above your trailing stop loss in this case. So I would suggest that you hold your position, do not top up. hold your position, do not top up. Now, for those of you who are planning to enter a new position, I'd like to give you a friendly reminder to discipline yourself, avoid FOMO, fear of missing out. Okay? Today is not the last day of KPPI in the Philippine Stock Exchange. It's also not the only fish in the ocean, so to speak. Okay, so don't fret. Okay, don't feel so bad if you did not catch that price action that went up all the way to 44% or above 40%. Again, this is not the only stock in the PSE. This is not the last day of KPPI. Okay, so just continue applying those strategies, lessons that I imparted with you during the Evergreen Strategies seminar. Okay, so don't fret if you did not catch KPPI today. So if you're planning to enter a new position on Tuesday, I would suggest that you wait for KPPI to uh, within the first 3 minutes, okay, or 3 minutes after the opening bell. I suggest that you post a request for the stock's latest trade and volume distribution and true market sentiment charts in the private clients forum, so we can tell you if there's still a strong demand to to push KPPI higher than 8.15 or maybe higher than 8.4 on Tuesday. And by the way, it's a holiday. It's going to be a holiday on Wednesday, so there will be no trading on Wednesday. Okay, so that's for KPPI. So, well, of course, I am. I am not yet totally bullish on KPPI because of that bearish true market sentiment, despite the bullish momentum power indicator. I would say that I'm more of a neutral. I have a neutral stance on KPPI at this point. So I myself, I'm into a wait and see mode. Well, disclosure, I traded KPPI this morning, made some good cash, and but for Tuesday, I still keep my being in a wait and see mode stance on KPPI because there's not much historical data that we can rely on. That goes without saying. It's its first day today. All right, so keep an eye on the latest trade and volume distribution chart and true market sentiment chart of KPPI tomorrow. Always post a request in the private clients forum if you are interested in trading that particular stock. Okay, next, URC. URC closed today. Okay, before that, let's revert to the daily chart. URRC closed today at 172.5. Support is at 152.4. Resistance is at 177.3. The 10 MACD combo is still valid. Foreign investors registered a net foreign buying worth 30 million pesos. And let's see. RSI is in the neutral level. The risk level of URC is moderate. The positive DMI hovers the negative DMI, but ADX is still at 17.2% or 17.2 points. Now, the dominant range of URC is, see this, it's between, let me zoom this in. So it's between 165. Well, actually, it was force closed. This is another stock that was force closed on its intraday high. I mentioned in some of my videos in the past just 2 weeks, that I have noticed, some stocks being force closed either on their intraday high or intraday low during the market run-off period from 3:20 p.m. until closing. So in this case, I would say that the dominant price point, or yeah, the dominant price point, not a range, but just a singular price point, is at 172.5. Yes, the momentum power indicator is bullish, but just in case URC starts at a price lower than 172.5 on Tuesday, I suggest that you monitor it between 165 to 166 then. If it starts at a price lower than 172.5, okay, that is a conditional clause. All right. So, but at this point, the momentum power indicator is bullish. The true market sentiment is, however, bearish. Now, my overall sentiment here is, I would say that I'm still neutral on URC. Look at the positive and the negative DMI. They are forming position or a formation of a consolidation phase for URC. Okay, but since our momentum power indicator is bullish and the 10 MACD combo is bullish, technical wise, okay, based on the technicalities of our strategy, that makes my overall sentiment bullish. Okay, it will supersede the sideways sentiment that can be derived from our DMI and ADX chart. So again, my overall sentiment is bullish. Why? The 10 MACD combo and the momentum power indicator are bullish. Okay, so if you have had URC for short-term trading purposes and your trailing stop loss happens to be uh, still below the current price of URC, then you can still top up within the dominant range or at 172.5. If you don't have URC and you'd like to enter a new position, you can also do that within the dominant range provided you are satisfied with your reward to risk ratio. Okay? You can check your handouts from the Evergreen seminar so that you will see the formula on how to calculate your reward to risk ratio with regard to the position of the last candlestick uh, in relation to the immediate support and resistance levels. Okay, so there you go for URC. Next, JGS. This is another index company. JGS closed on Monday at 67.4. Support is at 61.3. Resistance is at 69.6. The 10 SMACD combo is not yet officially valid, but I am already seeing a formation of a bullish convergence between the MACD and the signal line. Foreign investors registered a very small net foreign buying worth 6.10 million pesos today. RSI is in the neutral level. The risk level of JGS is already moderate. The negative DMI is still hovering the positive DMI. Okay. So JGS still not out of the woods here. I prefer seeing JGS breaking above 69.6. Okay. I would like to see that resistance to be broken. Okay. So now let's take a look at the dominant range. Okay, with respect to the closing price of 67.4, this is another company which was force closed on its intraday high today. So the momentum power indicator is still bullish, but just in case JGS starts at a price lower than 67.4 on Tuesday, keep your eyes or focus on this range between 64.4 to 64.9. Okay, just in case it starts at a price lower than 67.4. The true market sentiment is bearish for JGS, so there's still a possibility for this index company to move sideways. Anyway, that's what it has been doing since when? Since June. It has just been moving sideways between the immediate support and resistance levels that I have mentioned. So my overall sentiment for JGS is still at this point neutral, even though the momentum power indicator is bullish, the 10 MACD combo is invalid. But what did I say during the Evergreen seminar? You can skip, you can preempt the validation of our 10 MACD combo if your answer to these two questions is a yes. First question, do you regard yourself as an experienced and a disciplined trader? Next question, is the momentum power indicator bullish? It is. So the only question now that only you can answer is, do you regard yourself as an experienced and a disciplined Trader. If your answer is a yes, don't buy yet. You have to calculate your reward to risk ratio. If you're satisfied with your triple R, then that's the time that you position your buying price within the dominant range. Okay, keep in mind what I said a while back. If JGS starts at a price lower than 67.4, monitor this particular range. I mentioned that a while back, so you just rewind the video if you missed that part. But at this point, I'm still neutral on JGS. Okay? Told you a while back that I prefer seeing the resistance at 69.6 to be broken out first. Okay? After JGS, we have Security Bank, another index company. Okay, here, JGS closed at the price, it closed at 191.9 on Monday. It continues to move above its support at 184.6. Resistance is at 213.5. I'd like to mention that it's the three simple moving averages that I'm using, 10, 20, and no, not 10, 20, 10, 50, and 200-day SMAs. They are in a perfect bullish alignment. However, foreign investors are not that much interested in trading Security Bank today. They only registered a net foreign buying worth 3.9 million pesos. However, the 10 SMACD combo is valid. Take note of that. RSI is neutral, risk level is moderate. The positive DMI is hovering the negative DMI, but ADX is still at 21 points. So this is not yet a confirmed strong upward momentum for Security Bank. Now, looking at the dominant range of Security Bank, let's take a look at this. It was forced closed again. Another company that was forced closed at its intraday high of 191.9. So the momentum power indicator is bullish. Now, just in case Security Bank starts at a price lower than 191.9, monitor the range between 187.5 to 189 then. Anyhow, this singular price point here, this dominant price point here, and the dominant range right here are both closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. Well, therefore, the momentum power indicator is bullish. The true market sentiment is bearish, on the other hand, for Security Bank. Nonetheless, my overall sentiment is bullish. Why? The 10 SMACD combo is valid, don't forget that. Secondly, the momentum power indicator is bullish. So, if you still have Security Bank for short-term trading purposes, go ahead, you can top up within the dominant range. Just remember what I said a while back, that if in case it starts at a price lower than 191.9, etc., etc. Okay? Now, you can also go ahead and do a test buy, provided you are satisfied with your triple R, reward to risk ratio. Okay? So I'm bullish on Security Bank in the short term. Okay, next we got PHEN. Alright, so these are now the top 5 losers, beginning with PHEN. PHEN closed today at 2.75. It broke below its previous support at 2.8, which is now acting as its immediate resistance. The immediate support is 2.2 once again. So The 10 MACD combo is still valid, but one more red candlestick. Okay, the 10 MACD combo will remain valid for as long as the price does not move below 2.73. Okay, foreign investors registered a net foreign selling worth 11.41 million pesos. RSI is in the neutral level, it's downward sloping already. Risk level is moderate. The positive DMI is still hovering the negative DMI, but I'm seeing a bearish convergence, a formation of a bearish convergence between the positive and the negative DMI. So it seems that traders of PHEN translated 2.95 as a profit-taking price point. Okay, so eyes on your trailing stop loss, especially if you have been trading PHEN for the past few weeks already. Once your trailing stop loss gets hit, make sure that you execute, you sell, so you can lock in your gains. All right, so now if you are planning to enter a new position, okay, before that, let me show you this first. The dominant range is between 2.75 to 2.83. The momentum power indicator is bearish. That's closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. The true market sentiment for PHEN is bearish. It complements my bearish overall sentiment for PHEN at this point. So again, if you still have PHEN and if it happens to be, if the current price is still above your trailing stop loss, I suggest you hold your position, don't top up. If it gets hit, you sell. If you're planning to enter a new position, postpone that plan unless and until the momentum power indicator is bullish. It's bearish at this point. Okay? So after PHEN, we got FLI, Philinvest. It closed today at 1.67. It's holding on to its dear life near that support level. Resistance is at, let me adjust this one. Resistance is at 2 pesos per share. Support is at 1.68. So we can say that 1.68 is already it's acting immediate resistance if we're going to be pretty strict about it. So the acting immediate support will be 1.4. Now take note that the 10 MACD combo has already been invalid since the last week of July. Foreign investors registered a net foreign selling worth 9.17 million pesos today. RSI is still downward sloping. It's now close to its classical oversold level. The risk level of PHLI remains low, however. Take note, the downward momentum is still very strong, so PHLI is still more likely to continue to go down. The dominant range is between 1.67 to 1.72. That's closer to the intraday low than the intraday high. Therefore, the momentum power indicator is bullish, bearish rather. Okay, so take note, the 10 MACD combo is already invalid. The momentum power indicator is bearish. That's not a buy signal. The true market sentiment for PHLI is bullish. Now, even though the majority of the top 10 brokers liked the dips, they liked buying the dips today, I suggest that you are better off waiting for the, ideally speaking, for the 10 MACD combo to become valid and for the momentum power indicator to become bullish once again. Okay, don't hurry. Don't hurry. We are, the majority of us, most of us retail traders are not as deep pocketed as these top 10 brokers. They got hundreds of millions in their pockets, if not billions. Okay, at this point, I'm bearish on PHLI. Next, San Miguel. SMC closed today at 177.10. Oh, it continues to move sideways, I would say. Support is at 170.35. Resistance is at 181.5. The 10 MACD combo is, let me confirm. Okay, the 10 MACD combo is still valid. It will remain valid for as long as the price does not move below 176.97. Even though the 10 MACD combo is valid, foreign investors only registered a very small amount of net foreign buying worth 4.6 million pesos. Million, not billion. RSI is downward sloping. It's in the neutral territory. Risk level remains low. The positive DMI is hovering. The negative DMI, but ADX is still at 14 points, quite far from for me to say that SMC is already in a confirmed bullish momentum. I can't say that yet. I think that will only happen once the price breaks above 181.5, preferably above 185. Okay, there's still a lot of things to do for SMC to reach that point. First, it has to break above the resistance, 181.5. Okay, now the true market, the dominant range is between 177 to 178. That's still closer to the intraday low. So the momentum power indicator is bearish for SMC. The true market sentiment is bearish. Okay, again, the momentum power indicator is bearish and the true market sentiment is bearish. So it just giving me a second opinion saying that it's really a bearish sentiment for SMC. So my overall sentiment is still bearish for this particular stock, even if the 10 MACD combo remains valid. For me, since the momentum power indicator is already bearish, there's a big possibility for the 10 MACD combo to become invalid on Tuesday. But I could be wrong. So let's be on a wait and see mode as well on Tuesday for SMC. But at this point, my overall sentiment is bearish for SMC. So if you still have SMC, and if it's still trading above your trailing stop loss, just hold your position, don't top up yet. And if you're planning to enter into position in SMC, I suggest that you wait for the price to pull back near 170.35 or wait for a breakout above the resistance at 181.5. Whichever happens first, entertain the idea of doing a test buy if and only if the 10 MACD combo becomes valid and the momentum power indicator is bullish, and of course if you're satisfied with your reward to risk ratio. These are the exact same pieces of advice that I have kept on repeating and repeating and repeating video after video. Okay, so I do hope you somewhat memorize these things right now already. Okay, so after SMC, we move on to Abacor. ABA closed today at 0.84. It broke below the previous support at 0.86. So that one is now acting as its immediate resistance. The immediate support is at 0.69. The 10 MACD combo has been invalid since the first week of July. RSI is already approaching the classical oversold level. It continues to move in a downward sloping pattern. Risk level remains high, and the downward momentum is already very strong. The negative DMI is above the positive DMI, and ADX already above 25 points. So this is in favor of the bears. The ball is in the court of the bears. The true market sentiment is bearish, and the dominant range is between 0.83 to 0.86. So the momentum power indicator is bearish. My overall sentiment for Abacor is bearish. It's still more likely to challenge the immediate support at 0.69. So stay away from Abacor for now. Okay, stay away from Abacor for now. And by the looks of this chart, of this price action of Abacor for the past, for almost 2 weeks, your trailing stop loss should have already been hit. Okay, unless you're going to tell me that you have a percentage of risk of 50%. That's hard to believe. Okay, so after Abacor, last the last stock that we need to discuss in this video is Web. Mhm. Okay, this is another stock that you need to stay away from. Okay, before that, it closed today at 3.3. Support is at 3.23. Resistance is at 3.84. The 10 MACD combo has already been invalid since the last week of July, and it's still more likely to break below 3.3, I would say. RSI is approaching the classical oversold level. The risk level remains moderate. The downward momentum is confirmed very strong. The negative DMI is hovering the positive DMI, and ADX above 27 points already. Foreign investors registered, that's not worth mentioning. It's an insignificant amount, less than 300,000 pesos worth of net foreign sale. Anyway, I mentioned it already. All right. So the dominant range is between 3.3 to 3.35. The momentum power indicator is, it goes without saying, it's bearish. Now, the true market sentiment is bullish, even though the majority of the top 10 brokers today bought the dips. I would suggest that you hold your plan of entering a new position. The momentum power indicator is bearish. The 10 MACD combo is invalid still. Okay? Don't rush. Let's be in a wait and see mode on Web. We have to entertain the idea of doing a test buy only if and when the momentum power indicator becomes bullish, and ideally when the 10 SMA then SMACD combo becomes valid again. For now, stay away from Web. I'm bearish on Web. That's my overall sentiment. Still more like to break below 3.2. Okay, so there you go for the today's daily top 5 gainers and top 5 losers analysis in preparation for the next trading day on Tuesday, August 20, 2019. And again, there's no trading day on Wednesday due to a holiday. So for those of you who are planning to attend a basic stock market seminar, I'll have one in Tarlac City on August 31. That's Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. And then I'm going to conduct another Evergreen Strategy Seminar in Makati on September 28th. And then another one in Davao on October 26th. And another one in Cavite on November 23. I'll have one in Baguio, Pampanga, and Cebu, but those last three will be in 2020 already, next year. So buy your ticket, since we can only accommodate about 20 to 30 people per seminar. Okay, if you are subscribed for 1 year, you can buy your ticket at a 50% discount. If you are not yet subscribed for, if you're only subscribed for 6 months or less than 6 months, you can still sign up. Okay, I think the early bird rates are still up, so you can sign up to get a discount. But if you'd like to upgrade your membership from 6 months, from 1 month, from 6 months to 1 year, you can upgrade your membership. You can email us at contact@equilis.com, so that you can avail of the 50% discount on your ticket. All right. If you have follow-up questions, please ask in our private clients forum. My name is JC De Guzman. Have a great day.